What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, Nvda, ES, and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to break down what's happening with the market thus far and what I think is going to play out for tomorrow, what you should be watching for in the charts and data going into tomorrow. But let me just mention that I am not a financial planner. Make sure you take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire community as a whole. So, anyways, what's happening with the market right now is very interesting. The market got a very, very nice pump today after we got some good data, and now we're about to approach some key resistance. I think the market has more steam left, and we could go higher looking at the daily time frame in the 4 hour. But the problem is we're about to test some big resistance. We're getting very close to it. And I think that once it's tested, we'll have to see if the market breaks through it or if we see some consolidation. So I'll give you guys some more insights about this over the next couple of minutes. Let's first talk about the data. So today, the market pumped for a couple of reasons. The first thing is initial jobless claims came out lower than expected. So the market really liked that. We actually have the number right here at 227,000. Below expectations, the market absolutely loved that. And then we saw this data right here. Retail sales was at 2.7% above expectations. The Philly Fed data was decent and everything else was fine. The market loved that, and the market continued to push as a result of that. Now, moving forward, I just want to remind everyone that going into tomorrow, we do have some data coming out at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. 30 minutes after the market opens, we have the Michigan Consumer Sentiment Report and the 5-year inflationary expectations data. We'll see what this leads to, so look for some volatility at that time. And besides that, there's not really a whole lot else coming out for the data side. But don't forget, tomorrow is Friday, August 16th, which means that there's likely going to be a lot of manipulation that's coming out for the markets. Why? Fridays are known for manipulation days because we tend to have a lot of options expiring, and there's a lot of manipulation that ends up working in the benefit of those market makers. So one thing very important about tomorrow is the fact that we have over 780 plus thousand calls expiring, which is pretty insane. But we have over 2.4 million of these puts expiring with a 536 max pain and 3.05 put to call ratio. So the majority of positions expiring for tomorrow are puts. There's a lot of shorts that re-entered the market. People were thinking the market was going to crash, especially as we hit some key resistance. Instead, they pushed the market through resistance. So now the question is, who will the market makers favor? As of right now, they're favoring the long holders, the people who have those calls and those long positions. And people who are trying to short the market are once again losing so far. And that is what the market makers are favoring. So we'll see if this continues going into tomorrow. Right now, the market thinks there's a 74% chance the Fed gives us one cut of 25 basis points, and there's a 26% chance we get a cut of 50 basis points right now. So 25 basis points seems a lot more pragmatic. It makes a lot more sense for the Fed to take it very slow. And I do think that a cut does make a lot of sense if we get another good report. But so far, it's something that's very interesting. I just want to call out that Walmart just had its earnings. This was the biggest one for the day, and they did very, very well, beating estimates. So they did relatively well because they saw their sales rise by 3.75%. They expect that for the whole year, which is once again above what we're expecting. So good guidance. And then we also got EPS at 67 cents above expectations, revenue at 169 billion above expectations. Good job for Walmart. Now, one thing I want to call out is this whole situation involving Israel and Iran. I just want to say that there's been so many threats of a retaliation attack by Iran on Israel, but it hasn't happened thus far. It's not really affecting the markets. So yes, I still have this in the back of my mind. I'm still remembering this news, but it hasn't really happened yet, and it's not really leading to anything too insane. So we're not gonna, worry about it for now unless we get some big headlines that will affect the markets. But as of right now, nothing has happened. So we'll see. But so far, it's not affecting the markets, and the market remains bullish as is. So besides some volatility for tomorrow at 10 a.m. because of data, right now the charts are looking very, very strong, and we look very bullish, very vertical right now. This looks like a potential cup that could be forming on SPY, but we're approaching some tough resistance. I think what's going to happen is we push a little bit higher, but then we'll have to see what happens with this big test at resistance. That's going to be key for tomorrow. So I think the resistance takes us all the way up towards 554 to 555. I think SPY will go all the way up there tomorrow, so it might push a little bit more. If we break the 555 area, we could easily go up to 558 and eventually 560. And there's going to be more upside closer to 560 if we break 555. If we reject off 555, we're going to be dipping back down. We could just consolidate around it, and I find that to be very probable because we have so many options expiring. Or if we get a rejection, then make sure you look at support at 552. If 552 fails us, we're going to be dipping all the way back down towards 549.5 to 550. So what do I think is most likely for SPY? Here's my prediction. Okay, so I just gave you guys the bullish and bearish cases, but my prediction is a little bit different. I wouldn't be surprised if we pump a little bit tomorrow to resistance. We could get a fake break of it and then come back down. And then we might just see a lot of consolidation, a lot of chop tomorrow. So expect a lot of chop with all the options expiring. Market makers are known for either causing that. So I think if we don't break 555, if we just kind of like hover around it, we push above it, then come back down, we're going to chop around. But if we do break it, then we could be trying to squeeze towards 560. So it's got to be one of those two. Either we pump to 555 and consolidate, or we pump to 555 and break it and then go up to 560 and then see consolidation. But either way, I think that we are going to pump a little bit more, and we'll see if we get stopped at 555 or not, and just to start consolidating, or if we break through it to start pumping. I think those are the two most likely possibilities looking at the chart. I'd be surprised if we did see a big rejection. The reason for that is because there's so many shorts expiring. These market makers have their own views. So we'll see. Could this be an inverse head and shoulders as well on SPY? Well, if that were to play out, we'd just be watching this resistance at 555 and see what kind of reaction we get. So that's going to be our big test. But the chart is still favoring more upside. It's still favoring the bulls. And there's no sign of this getting a rejection. So I wouldn't necessarily solely depend on the pattern. So I see more potential upside, and we'll see what kind of reaction we get. I think that's the best thing I could really tell you. On ES, if we continue to break out, we're looking at this imbalance towards 5,600. And if we reject, look for support at 5,550. Not to mention a move all the way down towards 5,500 if that rejects. So will we see a rejection, lose 5,550 and start tipping to 5,530, then eventually 5,500? Or will we start pushing up higher? I think we're going to go a little bit higher. That's my prediction, towards 5,600. I think ES will go a little higher, which will help SPY pump a little bit more. And then we'll see if we break resistance or not. But so far, this looks a little bit more bullish to me. On SPX, I would say this looks more bullish, especially on the daily time frame. I think we have potential to go up to about 5560, but if we do reject, look at 5500 flat as our key support. If we lose that, we could fill the gap below, but this is still favoring upside for 5560, and I think that we're most likely going to see a move all the way up there. Now, will we reject off 5560? I don't know for sure, guys. I just think we'll go a little higher and then we could consolidate. That's the most likely possibility, but we'll see what kind of reaction we get up there. So look for a little bit of a push before anything else. How about for Nvda? Nvda did a great job at pushing towards 122, breaking resistance. I think this is going to go a little higher towards 124. I think Nvidia is going to pump a little bit tomorrow. Then we're going to either see some consolidation, because the last time we hit 124, we got a big rejection, or if we break through it, we're going to fill the gap to 127. So we'll see what Nvidia does around 124. I think we go a little higher, then we'll see if it consolidates or breaks. So watch for that. As far as Bitcoin goes, we've dipped quite a bit only to try to rebound. So we got a rejection off our 50 EMA around 59,500. Only to retrace. Now we're getting bought back up towards 57,800. So watch support at 56,000 flat. If we lose that, there's going to be a big dip towards 54,800. And if we hold support, look at 58,000 as resistance. I think we're going to rebound a bit on Bitcoin and retest the 58,000 area. And then we'll see what kind of reaction we get. But that's what I'm seeing for Bitcoin for now. For other tickers out there, we have Tesla. Tesla, in my opinion, is looking a little bit more bullish, but we have to break resistance at 215 to really continue this trend. We're making higher highs and higher lows, trying to push higher. If we lose 212, look for a dip. If we don't break 215, look for 212. If that breaks, we're going to be looking for 209. If we break 215, we could be pushing all the way up towards 220, then 222. In my opinion, I think the odds favor 220 than 222. We look more bullish, so I do favor upside a little bit more. For NQ, if we continue to push, this imbalance could take us all the way up towards 19,600. And if we reject, we'll be dipping back down towards 19,400 as well. This chart looks more bullish, forming a nice cup, so I do favor us pushing towards 19,600. I think NQ is looking a bit more bullish. For the QQQ, we're looking a little bit more bullish as well, but we're at resistance at 475. I think we're going to be retesting 475 tomorrow morning. If we break that, we're going to be going all the way up towards 477.5 and eventually 480. If it rejects here, we're going to be looking for a dip back down towards 472, then 470. In my opinion, the chart's favoring upside, so I do favor that. And we'll see if that ends up being the case for the QQQ or not. But we do look more bullish to me, so we'll see if that ends up continuing. I think that there's a good chance the QQQ pushes higher, but we'll have to wait and see if we break 475. As of right now, there's no sign of rejection, so we still favor upside on the NASDAQ and QQQ. Aapl looks very bullish. If we do reject off 225, look for 222.5 as supports. And then if that fails, we're going back down to 220. That's going to be our 20 EMA. If we're bullish and we hold above the 225s, we're looking for basically 227. I favor 227 to 227.5, and I think upside is more probable. For other factors out there, we also happen to have, let me just double check this. Let me go back to Palantir real quick. Palantir is looking pretty good right now. We have a bullish wedge-like structure starting to develop, so that's looking quite decent. So we can actually draw it out like this. This is a nice little uptrend forming this wedge just like this. If we break structure at 31.5, I think our next target is going to be 32.5. So we look pretty good in my opinion. I end up favoring 32.5 as the next potential target. If you reject and lose support, look at 31 as our key level, and then 30.5 below that. But this chart is favoring another push, so Palantir looks a little bit more bullish to me. For super micro, we look more bullish. If we lose 620, look for 600 as support. If we continue to break out, we're going to be looking for not only 640, but also 660. My gut is telling me it's going to try to push up to previous support, becoming resistance. We have tough resistance around 640, but I think we might touch that tomorrow. If that breaks, 660 is coming. We look more bullish, so we'll see if that ends up being the case. Rivian's on a bit of a downtrend right over here, but one issue with Rivian is the fact that we haven't lost structure yet. I think it's going to consolidate, get very, very tight. We need to break past 14.25 to turn back up. If we do break that, we could bounce. If not, look at support around this 13.2 area. If that breaks, we're going back down to the lower 12s. We have a bearish wedge right here, so this may continue to downtrend, then we could dip lower. So we'll see if that ends up being the case. For SoFi is making higher highs and higher lows, trying to hold this trend line. If we break past 6.9, we're going to be looking for a big push all the way up towards 7 plus. If you reject here, we're going to be dipping back down to 6.8. My gut is telling me that as long as we get back above 6.92, we should be pushing higher. We're at resistance right now. We'll see if this breaks. The setup is more bullish, so it favors moves to the upside. We'll see if we dip a bit first before it tries to continue to go higher, but it favors $7. It looks a little bit more bullish to me. For the IWM Russell 2000, we look more bullish. We broke resistance. To be bearish, if we lose 212, look for 210. And if we hold support, we're going to be looking for a push for basically this resistance where this imbalance is at 213. If 213 breaks, we're going to fill this gap up towards 216. Looks more bullish to me if we break structure. It still favors upside on the setup. AMD is looking pretty nice right now, got a nice break of structure. And we're also forming a nice accumulation right over here. So I think that as long as AMD does not lose 145, if we lose 145, we're going to be dipping back down to at least 142. But as long as that doesn't happen, as long as 145 holds, we are favoring a push for 148 right over here. And if that breaks, our next target is going to be all the way up towards 150. So we look more bullish. For ARM, as long as we hold above our 50 EMA around 126, I favor upside for basically 132. And if we reject, look at 126 as support. If that fails, this will be dipping back down. I think this is favoring upside for at least 132, and I think it's looking more probable that ARM pushes higher. Bitcoin's just stuck in the middle. We've been stuck between these key EMAs. If we break 203, we're bullish, and we're going to be looking for like 208 plus. If we lose 196, we're going to be turning back down towards 192, and then we have a gap fill below. We're stuck in the middle, but we favor a little bit more upside, so I think we look pretty nice on coin. For Amazon, in my opinion, looks more bullish as well. We have this imbalance that's trying to fill up here, and also we're on a very, very strong uptrend. We got to hold 177 on Amazon. If we hold that, I think 180 is coming. If we lose that, we're going back down to 175 at least, but I think this is favoring 180. Meta is looking pretty nice, forming a nice cup right now. But the question is, are we going to make the full measured move? We got to break this resistance. We came short today of 538 or 538. That's correct. If we break 538, we're going to be looking for 544. If we can't break it, we're going to retrace to at least 534, if not 530. This chart looks like it wants to go up to 544, but watch to see if we can break 538. So far, so good. Microsoft looks more bullish. If you hold above 420, we're going to be looking for a push for 426. If you reject, we're going to be looking for 413 as support. This is favoring 426 as long as we hold above 420. Google's trying to rebound, but look at a test of 163.5 for tomorrow. If this breaks, we're going back up towards 165. If we reject, we're going to be dipping. This is favoring upside. For the people interested in like GameStop, we're uptrending above our key EMAs. I think that this is favoring a push for 23. If we lose 22.06, we dip, but this looks more bullish. AMC is trying to consolidate right now, could be pushed for 5.2, so it looks more bullish. DJT is looking decent right now, just kind of flat, not really doing much. If we lose 23.4, we'll be looking for a dip towards 22.5. And if we reclaim 24.5, we could rebound. So far, we're just on a bit of a downtrend. The VIX is on a bit of a downtrend as well. If we end up losing support at 15, we'll be looking for a dip all the way back down towards much lower levels. We have this gap to fill, so I think the VIX might go a little lower because the market may pump more, taking the VIX all the way down to 14.6 at least, if not lower. So we still look bearish on the VIX as the market is pumping. The 10-year did come up a little bit, but it's not really doing much. It came up because before the market was thinking we're going to get a 50 basis point cut. Now it's thinking there's going to be a 25 basis point cut, which implies the Fed may not be as dovish as expected. That's why the 10 year is coming up just a little bit. The dollar is trying to push just a bit, but it's not really affecting them much. It's only up. It's not affecting the market much. It's only up 0.46%, so it might push a little bit. I don't think it's going to affect the market much. The market's approaching some tight resistance, so I think we might push a little bit more tomorrow morning. But we'll see what kind of reaction we get. Are we going to see consolidation up here? Or are we about to see a bigger pump and just break resistance? We'll have to wait and see with the big test coming for tomorrow. But I do anticipate a little bit more upside nonetheless for the markets. And then we'll see what kind of reaction we get depending on the options chain. All right. So that's my analysis. I do anticipate more upside. And then we'll see how we end up reacting to resistance. There's more upside coming for the markets for the short term. So we'll see how things go. With that being said, I'm going to end this video early. Please have a great day, guys. A great day, night, or evening, wherever you guys are around the world. And I'll be sure to see you guys very soon tomorrow before the market opens. The market has been very tricky. We've been just, smacking past these resistance levels, just pushing through them like there's no tomorrow. And that just really hurt shorts. So, it really was advantageous for market makers, and they're continuing to do their manipulation as they typically do. Expect a lot of manipulation tomorrow as well. So we'll see how things go and make sure you're very, very patient. Until I see you guys again tomorrow before the market opens, please enjoy the rest of your day, enjoy your dinner, your lunch, whatever it is. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you for listening, and peace out.